Hey boys and girls, it's Miss Kim again, and I brought a special guest today. This is my husband, Mr. Shane. Mr. Shane, can you say hello to my friends?
Hey.
All right, so over the weekend, Mr. Shane and I, we planted a little garden in a raised bed. Mr. Shane, could you tell us what you planted for us?
We planted some peppers, tomatoes, and onions.
We are so excited about having this garden, and we're just praying that it's going to grow very well. We know that it needs lots of sun and water, and we're excited to see what happens. But today, I want to read you a story about a man named Mr. McGregor who planted a garden. But there was this sneaky little rabbit who came to see what was in Mr. McGregor's garden. Mr. Shane, are you ready for our story?
Sure.
All right, here we go, guys. Once there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived in the nest under the root of the big tree. "Now, dears," said Miss Rabbit one morning, "you may go into the fields or down the lane, but do not go to Mr. McGregor's garden. You may run along now. I'm going out." So Mrs. Rabbit left to go to the baker's. The little rabbits, they went down the lane to look for blackberries, but Peter, he ran straight to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed right under the gate. Do you think he made a good choice? His mom said not to go to Mr. McGregor's garden, but Peter went anyway, so I think he made a bad choice. First, he ate some lettuce and beans, and then he pulled up and ate some radishes. His tummy began to feel bad, so he decided to look for some parsley. But all of a sudden, Peter saw Mr. McGregor. The farmer was down on his hands and knees planting cabbages, but he jumped up when he saw Peter. He picked up his rake and shook it at him and he shouted, "Stop, thief!" Peter got so excited that he forgot which way to go to the gate. He lost both of his shoes as he ran, and he began to run faster. But then he got his coat button caught on the gooseberry net. It was a new jacket with brass buttons, and Peter, he began to cry. He wiggled out of his jacket just as Mr. McGregor reached him. Peter ran into the tool shed and jumped in a watering can, and Mr. McGregor came in and started looking for Peter under the flower pots. All of a sudden, Mr. McGregor heard a sneeze. Peter jumped out of the can and out of the window. Mr. McGregor saw that he couldn't catch Peter, so he went back to work. Peter kept looking for a way out of the garden. He went back to the tool shed and climbed up on a wheelbarrow. He saw the gate just past the spot where Mr. McGregor was hoeing the onions. He ran as fast as he could past Mr. McGregor back to his home under the tree. Mother Rabbit wondered what happened to Peter and what all he had been doing. She made Peter some chamomile tea to help him feel better, and she put him to bed early, while Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and delicious blackberries. Peter learned a big lesson that day. He learned that he should stay away from Mr. McGregor's garden and that he should always obey his mom. Boys and girls, God planned for us to be able to plant fruits and vegetables by giving us seeds so we could grow gardens to have good foods to eat. And we are thankful that God did that for us. Boys and girls, I can't wait for us to get back together again. Braxton, Ethan, Brezzy, Addie Mae, James, Ezra, Sammy, Micah, Brinley, and Ava, I can't wait to see you again soon. Bye, boys and girls.
Bye.